Hello students, today we are going to learn about the classification of nutrients and recommended dietary allowances. Now here we are going to understand how nutrients are classified, what is the meaning of RDA, which is nothing but recommended dietary allowances, and how to use the food guide pyramid. The foods that we eat like the rice, dal, the fruits, vegetables, milk, meat, all these foods contain different nutrients. Now, as previously discussed, nutrients are chemical components which are present in food, which are required for various activities like growth, reproduction, and leading a normal and healthy life. They are required in adequate quantities. Now, these foods are classified based on the chemical component. So, when we say classification of nutrients, they are classified as carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. Fiber also plays a very important role in our diet. The first nutrient, that is carbohydrates. They form the bulk of the diet. The main function of carbohydrates is to provide energy which is needed by our body. Almost 70% of the energy requirements come from burning of carbohydrates, that is the oxidation of carbohydrates. When carbohydrates are taken in excess, they are stored as glycogen, which is used later to provide energy. 1 gram of carbohydrate provides 4 kilocalories of energy. We get carbohydrates from different sources like starch and sugars. We get from sugar, jaggery, and sago. We also get carbohydrates from cereals like rice and wheat, and also tubers like potatoes, sweet potatoes, colocasia, etc. The second nutrient is proteins. Now, as we all know, they are the main sources of building material for the body. They play a very important role in building new cells and tissues in our body. Not only that, they also help to repair worn out tissues. We get almost 10% of our energy from the proteins in the diet. When we take proteins in excess, it is converted either into carbohydrates or fats and it is stored in our body for later use. 1 gram of protein provides 4 kilocalories of energy. Now, what are the sources of proteins? We get proteins from both animal and plant sources. Animal sources like milk and meat products, plant sources like pulses, nuts, cereals, etc. The third nutrient is fats. Now, these are the most concentrated form of energy. They are also carriers of fat-soluble vitamins and source of essential fatty acids. Generally, 30% of human energy requirements are met by fat. Whenever we take excess amount of fat in the diet that we eat, they are stored as fat reserves in our body. Now, compared to carbohydrates and proteins, 1 gram of fat provides 9 kilocalories of energy, which is almost double the amount that is provided from carbohydrates and proteins. The sources of fat, we get fat from oil, butter, ghee, vanaspati, and also nuts and oil seeds. The next nutrient is vitamins. They are required for the proper utilization of the bulk of food of the diet. Now, basically vitamins, they are enzymes which function as catalysts for many biological reactions within the body. They are needed for the growth, development, and the normal functioning of a body, and also the normal functioning of the body processes. Now, vitamins are classified into two basic types. We have fat-soluble vitamins and water-soluble vitamins. Fat-soluble vitamins include vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K, whereas water-soluble vitamins include B complex vitamins and vitamin C. Now, we say B complex, that means it is not a single vitamin. It includes many vitamins, like we have B1, thiamine, B2, riboflavin, then we have B6, niacin, folic acid, B12, so on and so forth. So that's why it is called B complex. The next nutrient is minerals. Now, minerals are necessary for bodybuilding. They are also needed for the formation of bones, teeth, and also structural parts of soft tissues. They play a very important role in the regulation of processes in the body. For example, muscle contraction, clotting of blood, nerve stimuli, so on and so forth. Now, again, minerals, we classify them based on the amount that is required in our body. Some minerals are required in larger quantities, so they are called as macro minerals. Some examples of macro minerals are calcium, phosphorus, etc. Then coming to minerals which are required in lesser amounts, they are called as micro minerals. Examples of micro minerals are iodine, iron, fluorine, etc. The sources of minerals are from fruits and vegetables. So we get vitamins even from fruits and vegetables, especially milk is a very good source of riboflavin, and cereals are excellent source of B complex vitamins. The fifth nutrient is water. Now, we get water not only from the foods that we eat, but major part of water is obtained from the beverages and water that we consume. Water plays an essential part in our body structure, and it also accounts for 60% of the total body weight. Now, water is essential for the normal utilization of food material in our body, and also for the elimination of food waste from out of the body. It is also a regulator of the body processes such as maintenance of body temperature. So, as I had previously told, we don't get water only from the foods that we eat, but also the beverages, and also from the oxidation of carbohydrates, proteins, fats also yield good amount of water to us. All individuals need the same nutrients for the same body function. The only variation is the amount of each nutrient differs according to the age, the size, and the activity. For example, if a person who does sedentary work will require less amount of calories when compared to a person who carries a lot of loads of weight. So, based on the age, sex, and the activity, the requirement of various nutrients also will differ. Now, the next concept is RDA. What is the full form of RDA? It stands for Recommended Dietary Allowances. Each day we need a number of nutrients to enable our body to carry out various activities efficiently. To determine what nutrients we need each day, how much we need it to keep us in good health, a lot of research has been done. Recommended intakes of nutrients that meet the needs of almost all healthy people of similar age and gender are termed as recommended dietary allowances. RDAs are basically considered as a daily food guide for meal planning, as it provides guidelines regarding the amounts of nutrients to be actually consumed in order to meet the requirements of the body. An advisory committee, that is ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, is responsible for setting up these RDAs for various age groups, their review and revision. RDAs are based on age, gender, the body size, type of activity and physiological state. For example, a child will require more amount of calories and proteins in more quantities when compared to an adult. Females require less amount of calories and proteins because of their less BMR. Now, a thin and lean person will again require less amount of calories when compared to a person who is overweight. Certain stages of life, like during pregnancy and lactation, women require increased requirements of certain nutrients like iron, calcium, etc. So like that, the RDA for a person differs from person to person, and it is based on the physiological state, the type of activity, age and sex. Of course, diseases and drugs, if prescribed for the treatment, can alter the requirement for one or more nutrients. Now, our nutrient needs vary with size and the age of our body. Therefore, an individual of given age and size has to be designated as a reference person. Now, coming to the definition of reference man and reference woman. Now, both reference man and reference woman are in the age group of 20 to 39 years. A reference woman weighs around 50 kgs, whereas a reference man weighs 60 kgs. Now, reference woman is healthy. She may be engaged in 8 hours of moderately active work or any light industry work or general household work. Apart from the 8 hours in bed, she spends 4 to 6 hours in light leisure activities and 2 hours in active household work, recreation or walking. Whereas a reference man is healthy, free from disease and is fit for work. He is employed in moderately active occupation for 8 hours, spends 8 hours in bed, 4 to 6 hours in leisure activities and 2 hours in walking and other activities. Now, why do we need RDA? What are the uses or role of RDA in our daily life? One of the important uses is it enables government to predict food needs of the population. It also provides basis for food distribution quota. It also guides agricultural planning policy and also food export and import. It also plays as an important guide in planning of nutritionally adequate diets for inmates of large catering establishments such as hospitals, hostels, army canteens, etc. There are some limitations in RDAs. Now, RDA are only the estimates of the intakes of nutrients, and they are not meant to be used to determine nutrient adequacy of an individual intake. It is implied that the intake of nutrients at RDA level will involve very little risk of inadequacy. Individuals whose intakes of nutrients is below the given RDA are not risk of deficiency, since many individuals in a population may have requirements well below the normal RDA. The ICMR has recommended various nutrients for different age group. It has been tabulated in a form of a tabular column. So we have the intake of various nutrients for various age groups. Now coming to the next thing, that is the food guide pyramid. what is a food pyramid? It is a graphic representation of the number of servings from the various 5 food groups that are needed to lead a healthful life. The pyramid is designed in such a way to give you dietary guidelines for Indians in terms of food groups and recommended numbers of daily servings. It shows that the foundation of a healthful diet. We have different levels which are there in the food pyramid. The bottom and the largest section is the group which is made up of cereals and their products. Now cereals, as we know, they are complex carbohydrates and they provide nutrients like energy, proteins, vitamins and minerals. We need to take at least 6 to 11 servings every day in our diet, which are of course distributed at different intervals of time. The next section is that of vegetables and fruits. As we know, vegetables provide vitamins such as vitamin A, C, folic acid, so on and so forth. They are also good sources of minerals like iron, magnesium, fiber. Fruits are also excellent sources of vitamins and minerals, especially fiber. Now we need to include at least 3 to 5 servings of vegetables in our daily diet and 2 to 4 servings of fruits which are distributed at different times of day. As we go above in the food pyramid, the next section includes dairy foods and meat products. Dairy foods, as we know, they provide proteins, vitamins, riboflavin, vitamin A and D. Whereas meat and meat products, they are excellent sources of proteins, B complex vitamins, iron and zinc. We need to include at least 2 to 3 servings of milk, either in the form of milk or the other products like paneer, cheese, curd, buttermilk, etc. And we also need to include at least minimum of 2 to 3 servings of meat and meat products. The pinnacle of the pyramid contains fats, oils and sugar. Fats and oils give energy and also they are good sources of fat soluble vitamins and essential fatty acids. Whereas sugar, they only provide energy and no other nutrient. So this particular food group has to be used very sparingly. So the food pyramid basically tells you, it is a guide which explains the various foods which are placed at different levels, and it also tells us about the number of servings that have to be taken in our daily diet. So cereals can be taken adequately, fruits and vegetables can be taken liberally, then we have milk and meat products which have to be taken moderately, and as we go above, at the tip of the pyramid, we have the fats, oils and sugar which have to be taken very sparingly. So making the right food choices is just one part to achieve good health. The other important aspect is stepping up into a physical activity regime. So in order to keep your weight in check, you need to strike a balance between the calories that are obtained from the food and those that we burn through various physical activity and exercises that we do. So a simple exercise routine for the week can help you to burn more calories. In conclusion, we would like to say that nutrients in foods fall into 6 different categories, that is carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals and water. Of course, the first 3 nutrients provide energy for the body use. Vitamins and minerals and water do not supply good amount of energy but are essential for the normal functioning of our various activities in our body. The focus of nutrition planning should be on food and not on primarily on dietary supplements. Variety, balance and moderation are the key concepts of a healthful diet. So with this, we have wound out with the classification of nutrients and recommended dietary allowances. Hope you got everything clear. Thank you, students.